Hey everyone, welcome now for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at the world of startups and entrepreneurship,
Okay.
but through a specific lens.
All right.
We're diving into Kathryn Finney's Build the Damn Thing,
Yeah.
which offers a really, I think, refreshing perspective on breaking into the startup scene, especially if you don't fit the typical founder mold.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think one of the things that Finney really highlights, right, is that the playing field is not level.
Right.
And so she really focuses on those that she calls builders.
Okay.
And so this is anyone who isn't like wealthy, white, straight, cisgender male.
Right.
And she uses this really interesting analogy of a video game.
Oh, tell me about this analogy. I love a good analogy.
Yeah, so she's basically saying, right, it's like, those that fit the traditional founder stereotype, so the, quote unquote entitled,
Okay.
they're starting the game on like the easiest level with cheat codes.
Oh, wow.
And then the builders are thrown into like a much harder level.
Right.
And they've got to like scramble for resources and fight their way up.
Right. And, I think that analogy also really illustrates, there's all these hidden rules sometimes in the startup world. And I think it's something that Finney experienced firsthand when she was pitching her own business idea at a prestigious incubator.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty shocking anecdote, actually. Even though she had a proven track record of successful businesses,
Right.
she was labeled as risky by investors just because she didn't match their preconceived idea of a successful founder.
Wow. It really makes you think about all the biases that are out there, even subconsciously.
Absolutely.
So how does Finney suggest builders navigate these obstacles?
Yeah, so I think, the first thing that she really emphasizes is the importance of mindset.
Okay.
And she, uses her own journey along with her father's story, which is really inspiring. Her father went from being a displaced brewery worker to a senior engineer at Microsoft.
That's an incredible story of resilience.
Yeah.
So what can our listeners learn from his experience?
So I think, one of the key things that Finney highlights is that her father's willingness to embrace risks and view failure as learning opportunities played a big role in his success.
Okay.
He never let setbacks define him, but rather used them as fuel to keep growing.
Love that.
So for you, the listener, right, how can you cultivate that same resilience in your own ventures?
Yeah.
How can you reframe those quote-unquote failures as valuable stepping stones?
Yeah, I mean, that's so important, right? Learning to see those setbacks not as roadblocks, but as detours.
Yeah.
That can lead you to even better paths.
For sure.
And I know Finney also talks about the power of a growth mindset, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's that belief that you can continuously learn and improve even when faced with challenges.
Right.
And it's not just some like feel-good concept, right? Finney walks the walk. Like, remember how she handled that incubator situation?
Right.
Instead of letting that rejection define her, she used it as motivation to build multiple successful businesses on her own terms.
Yeah, it's like she took that harder level in the game and then used it to level up her skills and resilience.
Exactly.
But let's be honest, it's easy to talk about having a growth mindset, but it's a lot harder to put it into practice when you're facing real challenges.
For sure.
So does Finney offer any practical tips for actually developing this mindset?
She does. She suggests a few really tactical approaches. For example, she encourages people to cultivate self-awareness.
Okay.
Understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, and what truly motivates you. And that awareness can help you identify areas where you might be holding yourself back with a fixed mindset.
So it's about recognizing those internal limiting beliefs and then actively working to challenge them.
For sure.
What else does Finney recommend?
She also stresses the importance of embracing fearlessness.
Okay.
Challenging myself to step outside of your comfort zone and take calculated risks.
I mean, that could be easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're putting yourself and your ideas out there.
Right.
For the world at judge, I know I've struggled with that fear of failure in the past.
Yeah. Well, and she shares this really interesting anecdote about this missed opportunity.
Okay.
It was a proposal to build a life-size replica of the USS Enterprise in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And ultimately that fell through because of fear.
Interesting.
And it's this reminder that playing it safe
Yeah.
sometimes means missing out on these like groundbreaking ideas
Right.
and experiences.
That's a great point. Sometimes you have to be willing to go bold.
Mm-hmm.
even if it feels a little scary.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, let's say you've got that fearless growth-oriented mindset in place.
Okay.
How do you move from these big ideas to something concrete? It's something you can actually build.
Yeah, so Finney lays out this really practical problem-solving framework,
Okay.
or generating those actionable ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts by urging us to define the problem we're trying to solve.
So it's about more than just chasing what we think is cool.
Yeah.
It's about understanding real customer needs
Exactly.
and finding solutions to their pain points.
Yeah, she even suggests something as simple as using Twitter
Oh, wow.
to get a pulse on what people are talking about and validate potential pain points.
It's like free market research?
Yeah.
Love it.
It's a great way to tap into real-time conversations and see what's resonating.
I love that she's getting these actionable tools.
Yeah.
Speaking of tool, what about that ugly baby test
Oh, yeah.
she mentions? Very intrigued by that.
It's a great concept. It's basically a low-cost way to test the viability of an idea before investing a ton of time or resources.
Okay.
And so she recommends building like a very basic landing page
Okay.
and running targeted ads to see if people actually click through and express interest.
So it's like dipping your toes into the water before taking the full plug.
Exactly.
Does she give any specific examples of how this works?
She does. She uses this really relatable example of Terry's taco truck to walk through the process step by step.
Love it.
So by reframing the idea of a taco truck into a problem statement, so the lack of fresh, authentic taco options in a specific community,
right,
and then developing a simple landing page as like a minimum viable product, you can gather valuable feedback from potential customers without breaking the bank.
So even if that initial idea isn't perfectly polished,
right,
it can still give you valuable insights
to
inform your next steps.
That's exactly right. And she stresses the importance of measuring those results from your MVP. And iterating based on the feedback.
So it's a constant cycle of building, measuring, and learning.
Exactly.
It reminds me of that saying, fail fast, fail often.
Yeah.
It's about embracing those early missteps as opportunities to refine and improve your approach.
For sure.
But let's be real. You can have the best idea in the world, but without the right team to bring it to life, it's going nowhere.
Totally.
So how does Finney approach this critical aspect of building a startup?
Yeah, so she dedicates a good chunk of the book to team building, recognizing its crucial role, especially for builders who might not have access to those traditional networks of support. And she emphasizes the importance of understanding the different roles within a team, founders, co-founders, early employees, and how to manage those relationships effectively. She even dives into the complexities of working with family members in a business.
Family dynamics in a business can be tricky territory.
Yeah, for sure.
What insights does she offer?
Well, drawing from her own experiences, she stresses the importance of setting clear expectations, establishing boundaries, and even considering a third party, like a member of your personal advisory board, to help mediate those conversations.
Wait, what's a personal advisory board? I don't think we've touched on that yet.
Yeah, that's a concept that Finney introduces earlier in the book. It's essentially a group of trusted advisors, mentors, experienced entrepreneurs, maybe even friends or family members that you assemble to provide guidance and support throughout your entrepreneurial journey.
It's like your own personal board of directors.
Exactly.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
It's like having a built-in support system to help you navigate those tough decisions and stay accountable to your goals.
For sure. And she emphasizes that choosing the right people for your personal advisory board is crucial. You want people who will be honest with you, challenge your assumptions, and offer diverse perspectives.
Absolutely. So we've got a solid foundation with our mindset, a validated idea, and a supportive team in place. But let's be honest, most startups need some funding to get off the ground. So how does Finney tackle this often daunting aspect of building a business? So
she dives into the different funding options available to startups. Demystifying the process and outlining the pros and cons of each approach. Which I think is really valuable for anyone just starting out. She covers everything from personal savings and bank loans to crowdfunding and venture capital.
That's a great overview of the landscape, but for someone who's completely new to this world, it can still feel overwhelming. So where do you even begin?
Well, so Finney breaks it down as well. Starting with the most accessible options. She talks about using personal funds, savings, retirement accounts, even credit cards.
Right.
But she also cautions against relying too heavily on credit, especially for those who may not have established credit or are facing systemic financial disadvantages.
Yeah, that's an important reminder to consider.
Yeah.
The long-term implications of those funding choices.
For sure.
What about tapping into your network of friends and family for support?
Yeah, so she actually advises using those initial funding options first.
Okay.
So you can gather some data and refine your business plan before approaching friends and family.
That makes sense, minimizes the risk for everyone involved.
Exactly.
So let's say you've exhausted those initial funding sources.
Yeah.
And you're ready to scale your business. What are the next steps?
So that's where crowdfunding and venture capital come into play.
Okay.
She discusses both approaches, outlining the key considerations and potential challenges for builders,
Right.
especially those who may not have access to those traditional venture capital networks.
Crowdfunding seems particularly appealing.
Yeah.
For those who want to leverage the power of the crowd and build a community around their idea.
Absolutely.
Does Cindy offer any tips for running a successful crowdfunding campaign?
She does. She actually shares her own experiences, including her campaign for the #Rewrite the Code documentary.
Cool.
And she offers practical tips on everything from choosing the right platform and setting realistic goals to engaging your network and crafting a compelling story that resonates with potential backers.
It's like a masterclass in crowdfunding.
Yeah.
But what about those seeking larger investments?
Yeah.
Filter capital. I mean, that world can seem intimidating.
Yeah.
Especially for those outside of those established circles.
Finney doesn't sugarcoat the challenges, but she does encourage a strategic approach. She emphasizes the importance of research, understanding the different types of investors, and tailoring your pitch to demonstrate a clear understanding of your target market and growth potential.
So it's not just about having a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
It's about showcasing your business acumen and ability to execute.
Exactly.
Does she offer any specific tips on crafting that winning pitch?
She does. She talks about the importance of having a compelling pitch deck and a well-organized data room to present a comprehensive overview of your company and its potential. She also stresses the importance of being prepared to answer tough questions about your business plan, your revenue model, and how you plan to use the investment.
It's about packaging your brilliance in a way that resonates with investors and instills confidence in your ability to deliver.
Exactly. And she emphasizes that building those relationships with investors takes time and effort. It's not about rushing the process or taking the first offer that comes along. It's about finding the right partners who align with your vision and values.
That makes a lot of sense. You want investors who believe in your mission, not just your bottom line. But let's say you've secured that funding. You're ready to assemble your dream team.
All right.
What advice does Finney offer on hiring and managing effectively?
So she emphasizes the importance of finding the right people who align with your company's values and vision. And she identifies 4 key archetypes that she considers essential for any startup team.
Interesting. Break those down for me.
So the doer, the lieutenant, the strategist, and the economist.
Well, that's a powerful combination.
Yeah.
But finding those perfect fits can be tricky.
Yeah.
Especially in a competitive market.
For sure. Well, Finney offers some really practical tips on attracting and retaining top talent. Even if you're a small startup with limited resources. And she emphasizes the importance of building a strong company culture. Offering competitive compensation and benefits. And providing opportunities for growth and development.
So it's about creating an environment where people feel valued, challenged, and empowered to do their best work.
Exactly. And she stresses the importance of understanding your own strengths and weaknesses as a leader so you can build a team that complements your skill set.
It's about recognizing that you don't have to do it all alone. In fact, delegating effectively and building trust within your team is crucial for sustainable growth.
That's a key point. And she also acknowledges the realities of today's work environment, offering valuable insights on managing remote teams.
That's a whole other layer of complexity.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of her key takeaways for managing remote teams?
So she emphasizes the importance of clear communication, setting expectations, establishing boundaries, and using technology effectively to foster collaboration and connection.
So it's about creating that sense of team spirit, even when everyone's working from different locations.
Absolutely. And she also reminds us that managing people isn't always sunshine and roses.
Right.
Sometimes even with the best intentions, things don't work out.
Right.
And you have to make tough decisions.
Firing someone is never easy.
Yeah.
But it's a reality of being a leader.
It is.
So how does Finney approach this sensitive topic?
She offers this practical and compassionate framework for handling those conversations.
Okay.
Emphasizing honesty, transparency, and a no-fault mindset.
So it's about recognizing that sometimes it's simply a matter of misalignment.
Right.
Not personal failings.
Exactly. And she also provides guidance on navigating the logistical aspects of offboarding.
Okay.
Including severance packages and legal considerations to ensure a smooth transition for both parties.
Wow. It sounds like she's really covering all the bases.
Yeah.
From building a dream team to handling those difficult departures with grace and professionalism.
Totally.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. And we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
What Finney covers in Build the Damn Thing.
Right.
There's so much valuable information packed into this book.
It sounds like an essential resource for any aspiring entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Especially those facing those systemic hurdles that Finney so eloquently addresses.
I completely agree. It's a rallying cry for builders to embrace their unique perspectives, challenge limiting beliefs, and create a more inclusive and innovative future.
I'm definitely feeling inspired after this first part of our deep dive. It's amazing how Finney waves together personal anecdotes, practical advice, and a powerful message of empowerment to create such a compelling guide for anyone who dreams of building something extraordinary.
I couldn't agree more, but we've covered a lot of ground already, so let's take a pause here.
Okay.
And come back for part 2, where we'll delve into Finney's insights on debunking those common myths about entrepreneurship and explore her powerful emphasis on self-care throughout the entrepreneurial journey.
That's a great cliffhanger. We'll be right back after a short break to continue our deep dive into Build the Damn Thing. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. I'm excited to kind of dive into this next layer, I think, of Finney's insights.
Okay.
She doesn't just equip you with the practical tools.
Right.
She also tackles these pervasive myths, I think, that can hold people back from even starting.
Oh, the myth busting is one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
It's like she's giving us permission to break free from these limiting beliefs that society throws at us.
Absolutely.
What are some of the myths that she calls out?
Well, one of the big ones, right, is this idea that you need to be a coding whiz to launch a successful tech company.
Oh, yeah. That's such a common misconception. I know so many people who think they need a computer science degree to even think about building a tech startup.
And she brilliantly dismantles this myth by highlighting examples of successful founders who came from completely different backgrounds.
Okay.
She talks about Matt Mullenweg, who's the founder of WordPress.
Yeah.
He didn't have a traditional tech background.
And he built one of the most widely used content management systems in the world.
Right.
That's a powerful example of how technical skills, while important, aren't the only path to success.
Totally.
What other myths does Finney address?
She also tackles this misconception that you need an Ivy League education to make it in the startup world.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a huge barrier for people from diverse backgrounds who may not have had access to these elite institutions.
Right, and it's a myth that perpetuates inequality.
Yeah.
And limits the potential of so many talented individuals.
Totally. So she highlights Richelieu Dennis, who's the founder of Sundial.
Okay.
He didn't go to a fancy school, but built a company valued at over $1 billion.
Wow.
It's a powerful reminder that talent and innovation can come from anywhere, regardless of your pedigree.
It's all about challenging those assumptions about who gets to be a successful entrepreneur.
Yes.
What other myths does Finney debunk?
She also takes aim at this idea that you need to, quote-unquote, follow the rules to succeed.
Right.
But you think about it, most groundbreaking innovations come from people who dared to break the mold and challenge conventional wisdom.
Right. It's about having that courage to question the status quo and forge your own path, even if it means going against the grain.
Exactly. And so, she points to Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who are the founders of Google.
Yeah.
They definitely didn't play by the traditional rule book.
Right.
And look at the impact they've had on the world.
Absolutely.
It's a testament to the power of audacious vision. And relentless determination.
I love it. Are there any other myths that Finney tackles?
One that really resonated with me is this myth that certain types of startups are inherently more successful than others.
Okay.
She shares her own experience of being told that Black beauty wasn't a viable startup category.
Wow, that's incredibly limiting.
Right.
And frankly, just wrong.
I know. And now look at the incredible success of companies like Glossier and Brown Girl Chain.
Right.
It just goes to show that there's a market for diverse products and services, and often it's those who challenge the status quo who create those markets.
It's about having the courage to build something that you believe in, even if others don't see the potential.
Exactly.
Finney's message is so empowering.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you what you can or cannot build.
It all circles back to her central message. Anyone can build a damn thing.
Love it.
It's a call to action for builders to embrace their unique perspectives and create a more inclusive and innovative future.
I love how she constantly brings it back to that empowering message.
Yeah.
But building a business, especially as a builder, navigating those extra hurdles can be incredibly demanding, both mentally and physically.
Yeah, for sure.
Does Finney address the importance of self-care throughout this process?
She does, in fact. She dedicates a whole section of the book to self-care, emphasizing that it's not a luxury, but a necessity for sustainable success. And she encourages entrepreneurs, especially those facing systemic challenges and potential burnout, to prioritize their mental and physical health.
Yeah, that's such an important message. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and grind of building a business.
Yeah.
And neglect our well-being. What specific self-care practices does Finney recommend?
So she talks about building regular mindfulness practices into your routine. Which can be a game changer for managing stress and staying grounded amidst the inevitable chaos of startup life.
Right.
She also stresses the importance of building a strong support system. Your personal advisory board, your team, your loved ones, people you can lean on for encouragement and guidance along the way.
It's a great reminder that we don't have to go it alone.
Yeah.
Having that community of support can make all the difference.
For sure. And speaking of community,
yeah,
she encourages builders to be strategic about cultivating their networks, both online and offline. It's about connecting with like-minded individuals, potential mentors, and even investors who can open doors and offer valuable insights.
Networking can feel intimidating for some, but Finney makes it seem more approachable.
Yeah.
Does she give any specific tips on how to network effectively?
She does. She emphasizes the importance of authenticity, reciprocity, and building genuine relationships. It's not about schmoozing or collecting business cards.
Right.
It's about finding your tribe and creating a community that supports your growth.
Yeah, it's about those human connections that can make the entrepreneurial journey less isolating. And more fulfilling. I love how Finney weaves together these personal and professional development strategies throughout the book.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that building a business isn't just about the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's about personal growth and creating a life that aligns with your values.
That's a great point. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion, your skills, and your values intersect.
Right.
And when you have that alignment, that sense of purpose, it fuels your drive and makes the challenges feel more manageable.
I'm feeling incredibly energized and motivated after exploring these insights.
Yeah.
Finney's book is packed with so much valuable advice and inspiring stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure our listeners are eager to put these ideas into practice.
I hope so.
What are some key takeaways they can start implementing today?
So first, I'd say revisit those personal core values that Finney emphasizes. What are your non-negotiable? What impact do you want to make in the world? Getting clear on your why.
Right.
Will fuel your entrepreneurial fire.
And once you have that clarity, where do you go from there?
Start exploring those pain points that align with your values and passions. What problems are you uniquely positioned to solve? Who are you serving? Remember, it's not about chasing the latest trend. It's about identifying a real need and creating a solution that genuinely resonates with your target audience.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
Remember Finney's build, measure, learn loop and that ugly baby test?
Yes.
It's about starting small, gathering data and iterating based on feedback. You don't need a perfectly polished product or $1 million budget to get started.
Resourcefulness and resilience are key, especially in those early stages.
Totally.
And remember, when it comes to funding, there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
Explore the different options, weigh the pros and cons, and choose the path that aligns with your goals and values.
Don't be afraid to ask for help along the way. Building a support system of mentors, advisors, and collaborators can be a game changer.
For sure.
And remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish.
Yes.
It's essential for sustainable success.
Absolutely.
Make time for those mindfulness practices, nurture your relationships, and build a business that nourishes your soul as well as your bank account.
Finney's book is a powerful reminder that anyone, regardless of background or circumstance, can build something extraordinary.
So to our listeners, what are you waiting for? Pick up a copy of Build the Damn Thing, embrace your unique brilliance, and start building. You might be surprised at what you can achieve when you tap into your own power and the support of your community.
We'll be back shortly for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll wrap things up with a thought-provoking question that will leave you pondering the true meaning of success in entrepreneurship. Stay tuned.
All right, and we are back for the final part of our deep dive into Build the Damn Thing.
Yeah.
I'm still buzzing from all these insights.
Me too.
We've uncovered, one thing that keeps coming back to me is Finney's emphasis on redefining what success looks like.
Yeah.
It's not just about those traditional metrics, like revenue and valuations.
Right. She challenges us to think beyond those narrow positions and consider a more holistic view of success that encompasses social impact,
Right.
community building, and personal fulfillment.
What if instead of just chasing, those billion-dollar valuations,
Yeah.
we prioritized creating businesses that solve real problems and make a positive difference in the world?
It's a radical idea, isn't it?
It is.
Imagine a world where social enterprises and mission-driven companies are valued as highly as those, seeking unicorn status.
Right. A world where investors prioritize impact alongside ROI, and where founders are celebrated for their contributions to community well-being.
Totally.
I mean, it would shift the entire landscape of entrepreneurship, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And it wouldn't just benefit those marginalized communities that Finney champions. It would benefit us all.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and understanding that our collective success depends on creating a more equitable and sustainable future.
Yeah.
And Finney's book has given us the tools and inspiration to start building that future.
A powerful call to action for all builders to step into their power, challenge the status quo, and create a world that reflects their values.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Inspired by Finney's work, but not directly addressed in the book, are you ready for it?
Hit me with it.
How can we as individual and as a society reimagine the very metrics of success in entrepreneurship?
Wow.
To move beyond that narrow focus on financial outcomes, what would that look like?
That's such a great question. What if we started measuring success by the positive ripple effects we create in our communities?
Right.
But if we celebrated the businesses that prioritize sustainability, ethical practices, and employee well-being?
I mean, imagine a world where success is measured not just by profit margins,
Right.
but by the number of lives touched, the problem solved, and the positive change generated.
It's a vision worth striving for, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
And it all starts with shifting our mindset, expanding our definitions, and recognizing that true success encompasses so much more than just the bottom line.
So to all the builders out there, as you embark on your entrepreneurial journeys, I encourage you to ponder this question. What does success truly look like to you, and how can you build businesses that not only achieve your personal goals, but also make a meaningful contribution to the world around you?
Finney's Build the Damn Thing has given us a powerful framework for navigating the entrepreneurial landscape and creating businesses that make a difference.
Now it's up to each of us to take those insights, embrace our unique brilliance, and build a future that aligns with our values and aspirations. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building those damn things that make the world a better place.